Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And my camera's showing dark. There's Mother. She is on a mission. A mission, I tell you. She's going to go get her a pumpkin. She's come up with some kind of, I don't know, recipe, I guess you'd call it. She's behind the post. She's gonna fix a dog some kind of treat. See the little dog, he's over there not bothering nobody. And there's a cat big enough to put a saddle on the ride. How we wound up that thing, I don't know. Our old cat Oliver died, and this one belonged to my son, or belongs to my son. But I think he decided to fill the void up here. Mother is picking her out a pumpkin. So maybe the doggies will get some kind of little treat. And that'll be a good thing. Nothing to messing around with my bird feeders this morning. I guess it's got water in for it. We've had 2 or 3 pretty good shares. And Mother's pumpkins didn't do right well this year. There's all kinds of blooms, but just a few pumpkins. And I mean, we don't eat pumpkins no way. These young'uns play with them for Halloween, junk like that fall. We was up there at the farmer's market yesterday. I said, it's a shame all these pumpkins just be left out in somebody's yard to rot. Did you find you a pumpkin, Mother?
Yeah.
You are the pumpkin queen.
I'm going to try it and see what kind of gum I can make.
Oh, it'll be good. It will be good. The little doggies will say,
They're supposed to be good for them.
Big Mama, you're the
I got
most.
stuff to do.
Ta-ta. So, here we are, out on the porch. I ain't down at the mill. I should be down at the mill, but I'm not. Saturday morning, real peaceful. I love this time of morning. Come out here on the porch, sit down, drink a little coffee, look at the wildlife, and just ponder. You know, you ever sit and ponder? And there was a Papa, one of my viewers, he said he liked the way I talk. Said me and him talks a lot. And you know us mountain people, sometimes you need an interpreter to understand what we're saying. You know, we have breakfast, dinner, and supper, and that really confuses a lot of people from Yankee land, I'll tell you that. And, you know, we don't have gasoline, we've got gas. A lot of the older people didn't call walnuts, they called it warnit. But I've never been ashamed of the way I talk. And I've noticed that the ones that say make fun of the way we talk, you can't understand them no better than we are. You know, from like up north, their language, their way of phrasing words is just as bad as ours, but it's just different. And I guess I don't know. And I've noticed people from Midwest, Indiana, Illinois, in there, they have no accent. I mean, they can speak and you can understand them. But us folks from the South, we get by all right. And we're getting better, I'm thinking. You know, there's more people moving in here, and we listen to the way they phrase words, and sometimes we phrase ours a little bit better to where they can understand it. And you know, like TV and stuff, you watch and see how they talk. And I guess we try to talk the same way. My grandmother had a brother, her baby brother, and he had a lot of ambition, and he was smart. He understood the value of a good education. See, back when he was a young man growing up. 8th grade was the best you could hope for over there where he lived. And out Mars Hill, you could get a high school education. But he moved in with a family to get his high school education. And the Depression come along, and it just, they couldn't afford to feed him, basically. And as soon as he got old enough, he joined the Army. And he was in Pearl Harbor several years before it was bombed. And he spent his time in the Army, come back out. I think he stayed in the reserves. And then World War II broke out, and he went back in the Army and wrecked a motorcycle and about tore his leg off. And just about the whole time the war was going on, he was either in rehab or in the hospital because of that leg. And he actually got a disability because of that. And that gave him spending money, basically, you know. And he, with his with the GI Bill, he furthered his education. And he wound up with a pretty high dollar education, I imagine. Married a doctor's daughter, so had to be money there too. And he always had a job with some kind of paper, magazine. He had some kind of flying magazine. He was fascinated with flying and flew back in the 30s probably. But he had a flying magazine that was fairly popular at the time, I think. But getting back to the way he talked, I'm thinking he really didn't want to be labeled like a hillbilly or, you know, somebody from Appalachian Mountains. And he phrased his words almost exactly like Billy Graham. You know, Billy Graham had a distinct way of talking, and he talked just like him, and I think that was on purpose. I imagine he really looked up to Billy Graham, and you know, he figured if he could talk like Billy Graham, he'd be accepted better in the academic world. But that always kind of fascinated me, that, you know, you would change the way you'd talk to fit in. And I'm kind of proud of the way I talk, and I ain't going to change it. I mean, I hope you can understand me. People seem to understand me just fine. But, you know, our words are a little different sometimes. And that'll be all right. I mean, your words might be a little different than mine, too. But when you get right down to it, we can carry on a conversation and understand what one another's saying. And I kind of like my mountain dialect and our old mountain ways, you know, and stuff like that. I like to keep a lot of that going. And, you know, the younger generation, like my grandkids, they're just like they're from another world than what I grew up in. Even my kids, you know, my old home place over there, I'm a 6th, 7th generation that's owned it, and it means something to me. It's roots, you know, and it's nothing to my children because they never spent time over there. They didn't grow up over there. And, you know, that'll be all right, too. This place right here to my son, this is his roots. This is where he grew up at. Since he was just a small child. We bought this when he was probably 7 or 8 years old, if that. No, he wasn't that. He was about 6, I guess. 6 or 7. And you know, your roots is wherever you put them down at. But I was just thinking about, you know, the way we talk, who we are. A lot of people think Appalachian people is backward and stupid and stuff like that, and that's not necessarily so. I'm sure we've got our share of backward, stupid people, but we've also got our share of doctors, lawyers, millionaires. That's just as country as I am, you know. It's just, we're just people like everybody else. And a lot of people move down here for, now our population is growing by leaps and bounds. And it's people from up north moving down here. And they misunderstand Southern hospitality for weakness, you know. And it's not being weak to treat somebody decent and try to make them feel welcome. And there's a lot of people from up north moving down here. Some of the finest people you'd ever want to meet also, you know. And I don't want to cast a bad light on our friends from up north, for there's a lot of good people up there that wants to retire down here and fit right in. I mean, they're as redneck as I am. And then you know, you get your typical stereotypical New Yorker, rude, knows everything. There's a few of them, you know. That just goes along with it. And Asheville, it's an extremely progressive town, almost socialist, and that attracts a lot of people that march to a different drum. So I think like today they're having Women's Topless Day or something or other. I don't know. I don't get involved in that. The only time I ever go to Asheville is when I have to go there for medical reasons. But that's just who we are and where we're at, you know. But as far as talking and stuff, I don't have any problem understanding anybody, really. I mean, if they've got a thick New York accent, or even further north than that, you know, I can understand them, no problem. They seem to understand me when they come down to the mill, but that's just the way it goes. Let me get off from here.